Okay, as promised, I'm going to do a video on the projections by Marveltards. They project the deficiencies of Marvel onto DC, and they take the great qualities of DC and try and apply them to Marvel. And that's when you really are seen as a leader. When you're a leader and you're at the top or at a higher level than another guy, people at a lower level attack you all the time. So let's get into it. First of all, make no mistake, I am not naive. There is a war between Marvel and DC in terms of right now the movie industry. In fact, I'll be more specific. It's not just Marvel. It's Marvel Disney who has this all-out war against the DCEU. And their fans definitely express that sentiment, and they have fans in every area of the industry. What am I talking about? Well, if you go and read media, they're trying to tell you how the DCEU is a failure and how it's a flop, and they give you reasons why it was a flop. And one of my videos previously, they talked about how the DCEU is making a serious mistake by not combining the CW, that's the TV universe, with its movie universe. And they talk about how Marvel's doing that, at least Marvel Disney with Netflix, etc., and it's the same universe, blah, blah, blah. Now, what people don't realize is that argument that they're making, that the DCU will fail because it hasn't linked its TV universe to its cinematic universe, is actually coming out of a deficiency in the Disney Marvel universe. And people don't realize it's a projection of their deficiency, and I will show you what I mean. The Marvel universe, the MCU, is actually a very deficient universe. That's right, the MCU is deficient. They were able to recruit a lot of the Avengers, and they also got Spider-Man in there, and they have the Incredible Hulk. But they never say the Marvel characters that they don't have in that universe. And let's pay attention. If you look at this lovely display of Marvel characters right now before you, you will notice that there are some prominent characters in the center, right? You have Captain America. You have Spider-Man. He steals the show. Spider-Man always steals the show. You have Iron Man. And you have Deadpool. You have Wolverine. You have the Fantastic Four. You have Juggernaut. But guess what? These are central characters, pivotal characters, but guess what? These characters are not all in the MCU. The Wolverine, the Fantastic Four, Deadpool, the X-Men, whether they're mutants or non-mutants, all these X-Men here, guess what? They're not in the MCU. The MCU is deficient of them. In fact, Disney Marvel fought to try to get these characters from Fox because they're actually on a totally different company, which is Fox right now is the distributor for those Marvel characters and has the rights for them. So the MCU is deficient of Wolverine, Thing, Elastoman, and these two characters, Deadpool, which made a ton of money, all of the X-Men, Doctor Doom, all the criminals for them. The MCU is deficient of these characters. Storm is deficient of these characters. And these are big, solid characters that bring in tons of money for the other network, which is Fox. So what do these Marveltards do? They write that the DCEU will fail, it will flop because it does not combine two universes, when in fact the universe of the MCU is broken. There is a universe in Fox and there's a universe in Disney. And they cannot bring those characters together. In fact, Disney sued uh, for the rights for the Fox characters. When they couldn't get the characters, they stopped the publication. Marvel stopped the publication of X-Men, stopped the publication of Fantastic Four. That's how dirty they got. So really, they're speaking about their deficiency. They don't have certain characters in their MCU, and so they project that onto the DCEU. And guess what? Guess what we know about the DCEU? Guess what we know about the DC characters? The DCEU has all available characters, and not just the superheroes, but also the supervillains. They have their hands on every single one, and the DC universe is such that it is consisting of multiverses. And that's the beauty of the DC universe. And what this means is that you have different universes where characters actually have different roles. For instance, in Earth 32, Hawkgirl takes on the role of Wonder Woman. And Martian Manhunter takes on the role of Superman. Batman is a Green Lantern. Okay? Isn't that fantastic? So the DCEU can have multiple universes, something that the Marvel Universe does not have. As such, that's an advantage to the DCEU because it can bring different universes together, can bring characters from one universe into another universe, and so on. In addition, the DCEU has more than one ensemble cast of characters. This that you're looking at in front of you is the Titans. And the Titans are an extensive group of heroes. And then associated with these Titans are also extensive group of villains. So the DCEU can have the Titans in it, or it could be the CW that has the Titans. Doesn't really matter. That's how beautiful the universe is. It has all of this room to play that, and if that wasn't enough, the DCEU just recently exhibited some of its villains in a villain movie called The Suicide Squad, in which we saw Deadshot, Harley Quinn, etc., 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 etc. What's very interesting about this is that the DCEU has now displayed already some of its villains in a movie about villains. So that the DCU has an advantage over the Marvel Universe, and that the Marvel Universe hasn't even done that yet. So that if it wants to do a versus movie and have villains versus just heroes, just non-stop villains versus heroes, because the DC universe also has what is known as the Injustice League. So you have the Justice League and you have the Injustice League. It can do that as well. So that's what makes the DCEU a tremendous threat to Marvel, because Marvel is weakened by the fact that it doesn't have certain key characters in its universe. 1. 2, that it hasn't ever had a movie on its villains. And here's the other jokey part. The universe of the MCU is still connecting together. It's still connecting together. See, DCU is connected together in 3 films. They still haven't connected the Guardians of the Galaxy to the cast of the Avengers. They haven't connected their villains and knit them together so that you can have this great Infinity War that they want to have. The DCU has already done the Justice League. They're already putting together the Justice League, and they have already set up their villains with the Suicide Squad. So if the Justice League wants to go up against the Suicide Squad, as well as go up against the ultimate threat, which would be Darkseid and his minions, they can do that. And they can go into outer space very soon because they have just incorporated magic into their thing with Enchantress. And Superman has flown out into space fighting Doomsday, and Doomsday and company are all aliens from outer space. And we've seen Krypton in the very first Superman show. So if they want to go into outer space and out into universe stuff, they can do it too. They've done this in 3 movies, folks. 3 movies. Do I need to say any more about this? So on that note, folks, do understand, when a Marveltard comes to you trying to destroy the DCEU and talk about how bad it is. Just understand, they're doing it out of the fact that their universe has some voids, and two, most importantly, that they are somewhat apprehensive about the DCEU doing well because they feel that the MCU will fall apart because the DCEU will be so strong. And the fact that the 3 DCEU movies that have come out have been so creative and so different from anything they've seen before makes them even more intimidated because they know the track record of Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers has been able to launch their universe, and they're not looking back, believe you me. Now, having said that, I want to tell these Marvel fans who are insecure in themselves this. DC will never try to crush Marvel. And you will generally not hear DC fans try to crush Marvel. The reason being, Marvel has its own market. It can appeal to children, and Disney has been appealing to children for so many years. They're never going to go wrong. You're always going to have an audience. You're always going to bring your families. And also down the road, hopefully, we're hoping, because I don't see why not, we'll be able to link those 2 universes together in some sort of compromise universe. Because since the DC has multiverses, why not have a Marvel multiverse, a part of the universe that has Marvel in it? No problem. DCU can do that. So that there is a possibility of the DC universe interacting with the Marvel universe. And not only the Marvel universe, but even Transformers universe. Even the universe with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Even the universe with He-Man. Well, we already know Masters of the Universe in the comics has come up against the Justice League, right? My point being that the DC EU and any other universe that comes out there, DC is accommodating to all. In fact, you never know. DC might mix animation with live action very soon too, because they can do that, because it's a multiverse. It's set up to be able to have all these different universes. In fact, DC Rebirth is combining all those different universes together. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say to you that Marveltards shouldn't be trying to get rid of the DCEU. They should be encouraging the DCEU forward, because anytime the DCEU succeeds, it's able to embrace other universes, including the Marvel universe. And who knows, maybe Warner Brothers, Fox, and Marvel Disney will be able to work out something along with Paramount Pictures and Image and Mirage, and put a massive comic book universe together. Who knows? Who knows? Folks, a lot of possibilities are possible in the comic book industry. Everybody's going to eat up in this table. All right? There's nobody that's not going to go watch Transformers 5. It's going to be a box office hit again. Okay? But there's only so much the Transformers can do. Now, if Transformers decides to go up against G.I. Joe next, oh, man, y'all gonna make a mint. So all I'm saying to you guys is this. Work together. Don't try to tear down the universes. If you're a comic book fan, be a comic book fan. Check out all the comic books. We want to see versus films on the screen. We don't need versus films in the industry. You understand what I mean? We don't need critics and other people who are fans of Marvel trying to tear down DC. It's counterproductive to the industry. Now, I know people talk about, oh, if DC does well, Marvel does well, Marvel does well, DC does well. You hear them say that, and then they go in the next breath and they tear down a DC film, or they tear down a Marvel film. Well, it's very rare people tear down Marvel films, because most of them are Marveltards, right, in the industry. Don't do that. Don't tear down DC films. All right? You don't understand how the DC film is because you're used to Marvel. You see 2 Marvel movies every year. Now, DC's starting to put out 2 movies every year. Zack Snyder said, you know, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to put out movies. We're going to put out 2 movies every year, just like how Marvel did. So here, DCEU is copying Marvel in that respect. But that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The year when we had The Dark Knight, we also had the year with the Avengers. Both helped each other. Now, I'm talking purist things. I know in reality, people are still going to try and tear down the DCEU and want to see it fail, but it's not going to fail. All right? We have some great characters in the DCEU that we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen Lobo. Okay? Right? We haven't seen Grundy. Well, we haven't seen Grundy on the screen. Okay? In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we are yet to see some characters as well. Okay? We haven't seen Namor. We haven't seen Gladiator. Okay? We haven't seen Black Cat. We'd love to see Black Cat. Right? Miss Marvel is coming out soon. All right? And we have a number of other characters we haven't seen. Villains and heroes. We're yet to see Daredevil be successful on the screen. Right? We saw Ghost Rider. I didn't find it was a bad movie. People thought it was bad. I didn't find it was a bad movie. Right? My point anyway is this. You got the Marvel Cinematic Universe and you got the DC Cinematic Universe. And I'm looking forward to every single comic book movie I can see. And once you guys play fair in the industry, I will support every single comic book movie because it's great to see comic books out here. All right, you guys, have a great one.